They say every dream begins with a spark, but for Daniel, it began with a whisper, a quiet promise to himself. He lived in a small town, the kind of place where every day looked the same. Narrow streets, old houses, familiar faces. But Daniel's eyes always looked beyond the horizon, beyond that dusty road that led nowhere special. Because inside his heart there lived one dream, a dream called London. He imagined it every day, the red buses, the foggy mornings, the people walking fast with coffee cups in their hands. He imagined standing there, confident, fluent in English, feeling free. But in reality, he could barely say a full sentence. His English was broken. Whenever he tried to speak, his tongue froze. People laughed sometimes. Even teachers doubted him. But Daniel didn't stop dreaming, because even when nobody believed in him, his dream did. One evening, Daniel sat on the roof of his little house, staring at the stars. The world was silent. He opened his old phone, cracked screen, slow internet, and found a video titled "Study in London." The man in the video spoke fast. Daniel couldn't understand everything, but he caught a few words. Never give up. Your dream is waiting. Those words hit his heart like thunder. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling and whispered to himself, "If they can do it, maybe I can too." The next morning, he took a piece of paper, wrote 3 words, and stuck it on his wall. London, English, freedom. 3 words, 1 promise. Daniel started small, very small. He read the signs on the street, bus stop, supermarket, warning. Every new word was a little victory. He carried a tiny notebook everywhere he went. When he saw a new English word, he wrote it down. At night, he would whisper them out loud before sleeping. His pronunciation was funny. He knew that. But he laughed and said to himself, "Someday, I'll say these words perfectly." Slowly, his world began to change. He started watching English movies with subtitles at first. He repeated dialogues from actors, imitating their voices. Sometimes his mother heard him and said, "Daniel, are you talking to yourself again?" He smiled and said, "No, Mom, I'm talking to my future." One afternoon, Daniel met an old man who had once lived in London. The man spoke with a soft accent and told stories of fog and tea and rainy mornings. Daniel listened like a child listening to magic. When he told the man about his dream, the man smiled and said, "The secret, my boy, is not grammar, it's courage. Speak, even when you're scared." Those words changed everything. From that day, Daniel decided he would speak, no matter how many mistakes he made. At school, he began talking to his classmates in English. They laughed sometimes. He laughed too, because every mistake was teaching him something new. And with every word, Daniel grew stronger. One day, Daniel went to the small internet cafe in town. The computers were old, but his dream was new. He typed slowly, "How to apply for a scholarship to London." It took him 2 hours to understand 1 page. He translated every line, every word. It was hard, but he didn't stop. Finally, he found a program, a chance to study English in London, if he passed an interview. His heart started beating fast. He whispered, "This is it. This is my door." From that night, he prepared like never before. He stood in front of his mirror every evening and practiced. Hello, my name is Daniel. I want to study in London because it's my dream. I believe English can change my life. At first, his voice was shaky, but he kept repeating. He recorded himself. He listened. He improved. His accent slowly softened. His confidence slowly grew. He didn't notice it, but he was becoming fluent, one word at a time. Then came the day of the interview. Daniel sat in front of the old computer, heart racing, palms sweating. The video call started. "Good morning, Daniel," said the man on the screen. "Good morning, sir," Daniel replied, his voice trembling slightly. The interview went on for 10 minutes. Daniel forgot some words, mixed a few tenses, but he never stopped talking. He smiled. He kept eye contact. He spoke from his heart. When it ended, Daniel felt something powerful. Pride. Not because it was perfect, but because he had done it. 1 week later, his email notification buzzed. He opened it slowly. His hands shook. And then he read the words. "Congratulations, Daniel. You have been selected for the London English program." He dropped his phone, screamed, and ran outside. "Mom, I did it!" Tears filled his mother's eyes. For the first time, his dream had turned into reality. Music swells, emotional crescendo. The days before his flight were full of excitement. He packed his small bag, a few shirts, his notebook full of words, and a heart full of hope. At the airport, he looked at the bright lights and whispered, "Thank you, English." When the airplane took off, Daniel looked down at the clouds. The world below seemed small, but his dream felt bigger than ever. And then, London. The moment he stepped out of the airport, the cool air touched his face. Cars honked, people spoke fast, too fast, but Daniel smiled. He didn't understand everything, but he understood one thing clearly. He had made it. His first day at the English school was magical. Students from all over the world sat together, people from Brazil, Spain, Italy, Egypt. Everyone spoke English with a different accent. Daniel realized something beautiful. English didn't belong to one country. It belonged to everyone who had the courage to learn it. His teacher, Ms. Parker, said something that he would never forget. "In this classroom, we don't fear mistakes. We celebrate them." That became Daniel's new life rule. Every day, he spoke with confidence. He made friends. They went to coffee shops, talked about dreams, about life, about hope. His English wasn't perfect, but his courage was. Then, a 22nd man with a slow, emotional tone speaks. Years later, Daniel became an English teacher. And whenever a student told him, "My English is too bad," he smiled and said, "So was mine. But if you keep going, it gets better. Every word you speak builds your dream." And sometimes, at night, when he looked at the same London sky, he remembered the boy on the dusty road whispering 3 words on a piece of paper: London, English, freedom. That boy's voice still echoes inside him, and it reminds us all, dreams don't come to those who wait. They come to those who prepare. They come to those who speak even when their voice shakes. They come to those who dare to believe that one day they'll make it. So, my friend, maybe your dream is not London. Maybe it's something else. But whatever it is, start today. Speak, learn, believe, because your London, your dream, is waiting for you.